All right. Really, the tape kind of confirmed a lot of things what I felt yesterday post-game. A lot of really strong performances by our team. I like the way the film looked. I like the way the effort and the play style and the things that we talked about post-game were kind of confirmed. Not to anybody's surprise. I'm really proud of our guys, and we've talked a lot about now the discipline of being able to do it weekly, consistently, with our preparation and being accountable to the plans and making sure we're putting our players in the best possible positions to have success as a coaching staff. And I'm going to keep driving those areas of emphasis home every single day that we get an opportunity to work. Really, big time challenge coming in this week. I got a lot of respect for the Houston Texans and what D'Amico's built there. And we're gonna have to put together a really good effort in all three phases against this team. But fortunately, get to do it back at home. I thought our crowd once again was phenomenal. Even watching back, some of the TV copies on some clips today, you just feel the energy in the building was off the charts. So very, very positive from that standpoint. Just to give you guys an update, Justin did come in today, feeling pretty good, which was a positive based upon the initial quad contusion that kind of happened on that run play. So we'll be day to day with Justin, and we'll keep you guys posted throughout the week on his workload and what it looks like for Sunday. But pretty positive in the early returns there. And then Dallas Turner, with his knee, also similar day to day. See how he progresses throughout the week, and as we get into weeks into the season now, coming off a physical game. There may be some guys that get a day here and there, but like I said, I'll keep you guys posted as we go here.
Is a quad like that, is that easier to treat than like a hamstring or something when it's a direct bruise as opposed to something that if you run hard and you stretch it out, is there any difference there?
We're starting to dive into that territory of my medical opinion. What I would say is I believe the answer would be yes, but that would be purely speculation on my part. I just know I want to credit Justin. He did some of the things post game as far as how we could keep the swelling and/or kind of limit the impact of that by some of the things Tyler and the staff wanted him to do from a compression standpoint. Now I do sound medical, but I thought Justin handled it really well, and inevitably came in feeling pretty good today. In regards to what it could have been like when you get that kind of like impact on a contusion. So we'll see how he does, and I think he's very much looking forward to attacking it this week. Biggest thing with him is I know we can get him mentally ready to go, and it doesn't need to always be about repetitions with him as much as just making sure he's dialed in on the game plan and ready to roll. Yeah, so he's consistently been pushing through that process. Didn't quite get to a place last week where he could try to go out and even work from a limited perspective. So we'll see if we can maybe get him involved in the week here as we push forward, but very much questionable, and hoping to have him, but also want to make sure we're smart with him, knowing it's a long season.
What, after looking at the film, any more thoughts on either Aaron Jones or Jalen Nailor's performance?
Yeah, I thought Aaron, combined run and pass. He had a little stretch there where he went in the tent to get evaluated, was able to come back, and during that time, I thought Ty Chandler was fantastic in the game, burst, explosive, vision, a lot of things. But I thought Aaron had some really good runs, some really tough runs on some short yardage plays, and then found some space on some other ones. Had a bounce, a nice little bounce and a stiff arm, kind of on a tempo play one time, and then his impact in the pass game. I know. We put the ball on the ground. Fred Warner did an unbelievable job really pursuing from about 5 yards deep in the end zone and eventually punching that thing out. But I think people saw just the combination of his touches in the run and the pass game, and then Ty's impact really being able to be very, very evident to everybody. He's different, the physicality, and he's still got that burst and explosiveness. So the combination of those two guys was very impactful, and a really good defense that they did it against. And I thought our O-line had O-line, tight end, CJ, all those guys had a pretty darn efficient day and really made that whole thing of the physicality on the line of scrimmage come to life. So Speedy was, kind of what I've talked about all along is there was no surprise for Speedy's production to me. I just was really, really happy, just how fast he played. There were some even routes he didn't necessarily get targeted. You're seeing the separation. You're seeing him win versus man coverage. You're seeing him play really multiple spots, especially in the second half, where he was able to come to life, even in, taking, kind of being moved around, filling in some plays where maybe Justin would have been in those spots. And the play down the middle on the third down at the end on the, the long drive we had, 14-play drive was first of all, as big time of a throw as you'll probably see in football yesterday, and for Speedy to have the feel and understanding, seeing coverage, he's reading coverage on that route, and then to get his eyes back and make that play was just critical for what we were trying to get done on the drive, which was eat up as much as clock as we possibly could and try to get 7. But if we got 3, we knew it would take it to 9 points, which was the goal. So all those guys were awesome.
Kevin, his effort on Justin's run touchdown.
Yeah, not just his, the officials as well. That was unbelievable. And the sneaky little change of direction there to flip his hips at the end. I showed the team that a little bit ago, and they were having a good time with that. But yeah, I had it about 30 yards behind Justin when he caught that ball, and just play style is not just, splitting your face mask on the other team and physicality. It's finish. It's straining to finish. It's Garrett Bradbury on that play, with Fred Warner blitzing the A-gap, getting that extra little touch to run him by Sam so we could step up. It's Aaron Jones, helping Eds, inside right there on the interior rush. It's Brian O'Neill straining to, block Bosa one-on-one on the edge. It's all of those things coming together, and then Speedy's finish to escort Justin in the end zone was phenomenal.
Kevin, it feels like the screen game has been really good
Yeah.
so far. Has there been a more concerted effort on that, or do you feel like you guys have been good in the preparation?
No, there has been, Alec. There definitely has been, and it's a hard play to practice sometimes, just to really replicate what it's going to feel like from a timing standpoint, full speed, and then what those blocks feel like. I thought we could have been a little bit better, even on the play we eventually fumbled. I thought, if we were just a little bit better of understanding the landmark and maybe blocking that safety, I think we could have walked in the end zone and been up, whatever that would have taken us to in that moment, 27-7 or whatever it would have been. I thought we were really close on that one. I thought off the block punt, to be able to have the confidence to call, that screen to get plus 15, 16, whatever it was, and the execution. And it's really been, we've talked a lot about the run game, and we're seeing some production there. But the screen game's been a big part of it for sure throughout the OTAs and training camp, and it's come to life.
Yeah, when you look back to the offseason, how high of a priority was it to get more depth, especially at an edge rusher?
Mm-hmm.
Not just defense, but
Yeah, and I think it's just the versatility of that group too, because when I turn on the tape, I see JG. It might not be showing up in sack production, but the pressure, I think he's leading us in quarterback pressures and doing a nice job setting the edge. Then you've just got these, we've talked a lot about, Gink, which I think we should, but Pat Jones has been huge with the 4 sacks. Dallas Turner, there were some plays in the run game, which, he's going toe-to-toe with one of the best left tackles in football, if not the best, and physical, getting off blocks. I think that group as a whole, when I think about it, and we consider Hadi Jihad an outside line, but really you guys can see him. He's an interior rusher. He's getting his hands on a ball as a spy player. When the ball slipped out of Purdy's hands, he's been great, when we've asked him to set edges. So those 5 players are a huge part of how we put together the weekly plan. And then I think our interior D-line, Bull, HP, Taki gave us some great reps yesterday. And then calling up Jonah, to go along with, our entire front. Just felt those guys against a really, really formidable rushing attack.
Kevin, when you're building depth in that front 7, how much of a goal is it to have just more guys that are solely of reducing snap counts and helping guys stay fresh later in the season?
Yeah, I think that's always one of the first things I'm looking for, kind of another year into this thing. Sometimes as a coach, you're like, I want these guys in there the entire game, but that's just not viable when you've got the depth we have. And when you can keep those snap counts a little bit lower, you get better versions of those players in the third and fourth quarter, which I think is critical. And that the depth at the outside backer position, we had 5 D linemen up for the interior yesterday, for a reason, and all those guys had an impact. So, and I think, when you think about IP, Cash, Metellus' role as kind of that, rover player, how that he works with Harry and Cam and what those snap counts look like for Murph, Shaq, and Steph. We're talking about depth at a lot of positions. Theo, haven't even mentioned Theo or Caleb yet as well. So really happy with the way Flo's, using our personnel, how our coaches are being involved and communicating subs, and still it looks very coordinated and clean. I think those guys are doing a great job.
Style of play-wise, like in a game like that with the identity that this team has.
Yeah.
You can talk about it coming back, but I mean, you still look exhausted. Like how do you?
I'm sorry about that.
Well, you look tired, you're hoarse. I mean, it's fine, but.
It's gonna happen earlier and earlier every year. Getting old, man.
But the question is this: how do you? So you can talk about that, but how do you bring that back? Because I mean, that's a style that I think it's safe to say in your first 2 years we didn't see consistently, and that game, as you said, was a prize fight basically.
Yeah.
Like that's toe to toe. So how do you keep that momentum, that physicality up on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, to me, what I talk to our team about is the discipline to do it. It's consistently, can you do it every week in this league? That's what defines the good teams in our league. Is there's going to be some weeks where, match up, how the schedule falls for you versus the opponent. Can we just stay true to how we need to prepare for games? And that might be, I thought we had one of our best Wednesday, Thursday combinations of practices since really I've been here this week. And I told our guys that I thought we took advantage of having an extra day. I thought we took advantage of the fact that it was a noon home game, 10 a.m. for them, short week for them. I thought we needed to use that time to prepare with physical practices, and we grinded pretty good. And I told them you would turn over and you'd be ready to roll by noon on Sunday, and they did, and guys were flying around. So now, consistently, as the attrition of the season goes, that's the discipline of it. I've said it before, discipline is not me waving my finger around, pointing up at a bunch of rules on the wall. And discipline is the players understanding what it's going to take to win the game from a preparation standpoint. The discipline of our coaching staff understanding how we need to put together plans to maximize our matchups and what our play style is going to look like versus each and every opponent. And that could change based upon the schemes they're deploying, the troublesome personnel you'll run into. There's great players on every team we're going to play. That's how this thing all cooks, is if it all works together. But then the discipline to do it when maybe you don't feel great, maybe you are being accused of looking tired or hoarse. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us. We got to just keep on trying to go put our best foot forward to execute, and execute the prep is what I'm really proud of this team on early on.
Plus, too, talking about playing a more physical style and playing in a way that has more contact, just more wear and tear, I suppose, of course of the season. How does that affect the way you structure practices, just trying to manage fatigue as you go through?
Yeah, especially with where our bye is, where our London trip is. I'm thinking about a lot of those things. But I also believe if you do it enough early, I think it'll be ingrained in the fabric of who we are as a team. So that's my hope, is that then, I'm always going to be cognizant of sports science and what's the best thing for our players, both mentally and physically, to prepare for the game, but also mentally and physically for those guys to feel at their best, to be able to be flying around and playing fast. Because the game was physical, but I also felt like our guys were flying around the football field and playing fast, which means we were prepared, which means they felt good. And then, as the attrition of the game wore on, we had the windows open, it was a warm day. I think everybody in there was feeling that a little bit. I was proud of our conditioning, and that kind of goes back to the question of snap counts and being able to have the depth we need. And I thought it was was a very nice indicator of where I wanted us to be at this point in time. But as you guys know, that means absolutely nothing moving forward if we are disciplined to that preparation and doing things the way we need to do them.
When it comes to, Sam Darnold, just the last 2 weeks, you kind of took opportunities to pass when maybe you didn't need to, fourth down at the goal line and then throwing 97-yard pass. I guess I wonder if that was part of your plan to build confidence with him, or if that was just sort of within the game flow to make those decisions?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's subconsciously, maybe it is a little bit. I'm not really finding myself trying to really feel the need to build confidence. I think I'm going into these games confident in Sam to execute the plays that are called. I thought it was a real bright spot, him using his athletic ability on that first third down, the third down and long in the 2-minute, the understanding, you even see him blink at the clock as he's running to know when to get down, gets up, called timeout. I'd already called one, but it was still good to see just the awareness. I think people just, and part of my answer about Sam post-game was I don't really have a lot of interest in talking about the past with Sam Darnold. I think we all need to just start being totally present, and when he plays well like he has, I think we just talk about a guy playing the position at a high level and we move on and see the consistency of it is what we're all going to be looking for. And I think Sam's doing the right thing each and every week to prepare. Clearly his teammates are confident in his physical ability, in his preparation, and let's just keep seeing, what it looks like. And I have a lot of confidence in what that will look like.
Well, that's what I was going to ask about his decision-making. A lot of the teammates yesterday were saying that they really like Sam's decision-making, even maybe he's underrated with his ability to kind of scramble and all of that, but that's basically what they addressed.
Well, we can talk about it some more if you want.
I'll say it properly next time.
There you go. There you go. Look at that. You just had to ask a quarterback question. Too many D-line questions. I look exhausted. Thank you, guys.